Today we are here with the legend himself, a man whose name is synonymous with all the iconic ads that you can remember, Mr. KV Pops Sridhar. So what is that one piece of advice that you would want to give to the students?
Advertising is all about absorbing so many things from life and then putting it back in a creative way. Whatever 10, 15, 20 years which you have which enjoy life, say good idea is liberating and a bad idea is limiting. If the idea is good, it works like an atom bomb. That's the reason why you need to be in advertising. That's the reason why you need to have the power to tell a story and make a difference to people's thinking. I studied science, I studied art. Somewhere I thought I could figure science of art and then the art of science in this profession.
Welcome to Guthli Talks presented by Miles SoBA. This is your backstage pass to the creative circus of the branding and advertising. Today we are here with the legend himself, a man whose name is synonymous with all the iconic ads that you can remember, Mr. KV Pops Sridhar. Pops has been shaping the advertising world since most of us were figuring out how to spell the word advertising. He is the creative genius behind some of the most nostalgic campaigns. From the golden days of Doordarshan to today's digital revolution, Pops has done it all. He's even written a playbook in it, quite literally, with his book 30-second thrillers. If you love a good ad or you want to know what goes into making one, then this is the right episode for you. Pops is about to take us on a journey down a memory lane, and trust me, it is going to be one entertaining ride. Right, sir. So starting off, your first question, I want to know that what is that one campaign, that of course I know there is going to be a lot of campaigns, but what is that one campaign that is really close to your heart, and once that got over and you were like, I'm really happy that I'm into advertising, that feeling that you get, which campaign was that?
I think there are many, initial part of your life, seeing your commercial on Doordarshan, on television itself is a high. The first high I got, way back in 84, 85 when Doordarshan, the national television, it has become the national television on Ramayana. When you see your ad, your entire family is there and your ad is there on that. So that's the initial highs, as you said, one thing which actually makes you really, really proud, and then you think that you have this power to do what you want to do, what you wish. Is a commercial which not many people have seen, though it was quite a thing on internet.
Right.
In those days. That's the reason why you need to be in advertising. That's the reason why you need to have the power to tell a story and make a difference to people's thinking.
Right,
This is for a Hindu-Muslim unity immediately after the Godhra incident in Gujarat. So it is gratifying for me. One is I didn't sit quiet.
Okay.
I had to do something about it, and I wrote a story about it, and did an ad saying that whether you are a Hindu or Muslim or a Christian, does not matter what religion you belong to. We only search for differences. But if you search for similarities, all of us are human beings.
Absolutely.
99.9% of the things what we do is what they do, everyone else. So this entire idea of how similar we are, then how dissimilar you are, really made me do an ad. And then this was about story about a Hindu mother and a Muslim mother. Correct. A Muslim mother, with a newborn baby in her hands, leaves the baby and then goes, to fetch water on a railway station, and then the Muslim mother comes, and then she takes care, and then the Hindu mother comes and she takes care of the baby. While she is taking care of the baby is crying for milk. And then without knowing, this Hindu mother starts lactating. So the Muslim mother comes and then she sees that first, her first reaction is, oh God, she wants to take away my baby. And then she realizes that she's also a woman. And then she starts lactating, and then that's where the entire film about humanity, how similar we are, then how dissimilar we are. And then if you only to recognize that two things I wanted to achieve in this. I wanted to set that in on Godhra railway station, but fortunately the permissions, I could not get the permissions. I went 4 stations away from Thane, and then we found we got permissions in a railway station. Most gratifying thing is I found a railway station and set at the location of a platform where the incident, in similar situation, where the incident has happened. Then I wanted to get a Muslim director to really do that, to direct the film. So I found one of my closest friends and colleague for many years, Yasmin Ahmed from Malaysia.
Right.
She's a wonderful copywriter and a director. So I invited her. She's big in Asia, and then invited her. I told her I have no money. You have to pay your own ticket. She paid her own ticket, came home, and then stayed with me, and then she directed that film. So that is the most satisfactory thing ever, in my life, that you have the power to really communicate what you wanted to communicate, to people, and whoever has seen that film had tears in their eyes. That ETV, 16 languages, they had television channels,
Right.
and 9 of them carried this ad within a month of Godhra incident. Even on internet those days, it's not as apparent as today, that trending influences and all that. But without spending a rupee on the production, I was able to communicate what I wanted to communicate, and made some people really talk about that. That I think, apart from all the commercial work which I did, this is something, when you do things like this, you feel great that God has given you an opportunity and a platform and wherewithal to really express that
Absolutely.
in the medium in which you want. So that, I think, I've never said this before, but something which is truly close to my heart.
Wonderful, sir, wonderful. I wish we'll go back home and for sure watch that campaign if we can find it.
It's there on YouTube. Yeah.
Then for sure we're doing that, sir. So, sir, like how were your initial days like, or how our team puts it as Guthli days? How were your Guthli days? Like, tell us about your journey initially.
Initially, yeah, it's a rough ride, any youngster would ever have. But fortunate enough that unlike other youngsters, I had no pressure of money, and I have no pressure of where to stay. So the food, the stay, is taken care. To me, none of those pressures were there. Pressure is only on myself, that where to find my voice. I have done fine art, painting for 6 years, which is equivalent to doing 2 degrees now. In those days, it was a 6-year course, I did that. I studied botany, zoology, chemistry from Osmania University. Though technically you are not allowed to be enrolled into universities at the same time, but this is a new faculty in the university. In Gulbarga, in Karnataka, they opened this, and then they allowed private students, provided some caveats, or we need to attend so many number of classes and things like that. So 6 years of my life, I was juggling between 2 cities.
Okay.
Between 2 universities, and then as a student, I was quite difficult to do more things, but at the same time, I wanted to keep myself engaged and do anything to make some money to finance my own education. It's more a self-respect than a need. So my first struggle came in when I started painting billboards, which are 20 feet by 10 feet, 20 by 40, 30 by 60, they're huge hand-painted ones for films. So I was puny, 48 kgs and 5 foot nothing and very weak guy. You have to hold 6 inches brushes. The guys who paint your home, those are the 3
in
to
the
6
big
inches.
ones, yeah.
The big brushes, and you have to climb 30 feet on a scaffolding, and then you have to stand and then paint large portraits. You have no judgment on that. So that was quite a struggle. Not to make money, but to really. That taught me many things. Hard work, and then how to survive in a environment which is very hostile for a good middle class Brahmin boy. Full of debauchery. People used to drink, sleep behind the hoardings, and then all kinds of things. It was not easy. Then I said, this is a little difficult. Even if I wanted to commercialize my art, then I got into advertising. So advertising also, I experimented a bit with feature films. That was another struggle as an art director. Architecture and art coming together. So I did 3 to 4 documentaries and 1.5 feature films.
Oh damn, right.
So one feature film I completed. The second film I abandoned in between. The first film was supposed to be NDFC funded. It's a national film. So NDFC funded. This was in 77.
77. Oh.
So it was supposed to be a period art film. This is what coming straight from college. Art, anything which is artistic, you are quite excited about. And I went and did research, period costumes, sets, and locations, everything put together. And then finally, what it turned out to be a commercial film, which is set in those locations with 3 commercial songs and then 5 rape scenes. I said, that is it. I'm not going to do my, any of these films because it is antithesis to the art which I treasured for so many years. Even if I have to sell my art, I'd rather do it in an honorable way than this kind of a thing. Then I came to advertising. Advertising seemed to be a right kind of selling commercial and then art. I studied science. I studied art. Somewhere I thought I could figure the science of art and then the art of science in this profession. So I came here. I started as a cut paste artist, as a studio artist. Then we had a lot of trouble. Nobody wanted an educated boy to start it that way. So all the insecurities of my bosses led me to do a lot more work, challenged me with a lot more dirty work, which yielded in better opportunities. So that's how started. Bit of a struggle. After that, from 1980 onwards, I was a star all the way. I never had to look about the kind of work which I want to do, nor I had to worry about money, nor I had to worry about employment. I have been, everything has worked out for me so well. Then I took every opportunity which came my way. So never looked back.
Right, sir. So what is that one thing? So this episode, a lot of students will be watching, right? And especially those who want to get into advertising. So what is that one piece of advice that you would want to give to the students?
One is, if you want to be in advertising, you need to be enthusiastic.
Right.
You need to be enthusiastic, and then everything, you should learn about everything. The enthusiasm towards life. And I won't say enthusiasm towards certain, these so-called creative things. No, enthusiastic about life. Advertising is all about absorbing so many things from life and then putting it back in a creative way, in an innovative way. So the more you enjoy life, the more you get out of it. So enjoy life and then keep the enthusiasm. Correct? You may not know what is required when. If you read up at that point in time, you'll never get it. If you have experienced it before, and you would bank on that. To me, first 14 years of everybody's life is so important, because you are so selfless in 14 years. You learn so many things. Your exposure to life is so enormous without any selfish reasons. Now, even in the college, if you meet somebody, that this guy is going to pay you for your coffee. correct? You know this guy is going to help you with the homework, and this guy is going to get you entertainment. You know, there's little selfish things starts creeping into your life, and it becomes far more as you age. Correct. You shake hands with somebody and your mind is thinking whether he could be a prospective client, prospective employer. Correct. And a lot of, the first, whatever 10, 15, 20 years which you have, which enjoy life, and then what you absorb in that is going to, without you knowing, will pay off and then make you a rock star later, because life teaches everything.
Right.
So that's the advice to anyone: live life king size, and then have a be tall, and then get a wonderful career, and then sky is the limit. Does not matter whether you come to advertising or you don't come to advertising. I never set out to be in advertising. Having come to advertising, I really resolved and sworn to myself, saying that if I have come to advertising, I need to give my 500% to advertising. So I gave up, all my distractions, no art, no cricket, none of those things, concentrate only on advertising, and then whatever which you can do in that. So there is a time to exploration and there is a time to focus. Right. So explore till you become 20, 24, explore everything, and after that you zero in on what you like doing. Right. And advertising comes pretty much after exploring life.
Right. Yeah. Okay, sir. So for Guthli Adfest, we have like 8 different categories, and for each category we have different partner, and they've come up with different problem for the students to solve. Right. So they have given them a brief. So you mentioned earlier that like advertising is about art and science, both art and science, like cracking the balance between it. So how do you suggest that students can crack that brief, because they do not really have a clue on how to do it, right? So how can they navigate through this whole process?
Actually, briefing is for creative people to get to an idea, correct? And briefing to a creative person, always consists of 2 things. One is the factual information, the product, and then where it is selling, whom do you want to sell, and the channels which you are using, and then the data, who is the competition. So all that is the factual information about that. The second part is whom you are talking to, and then what insights which you have in their mind.
Right.
And how do they behave? What do they do? May not be, not necessarily logged into a category. For instance, if you talk about soft drinks, and then what insights you have into, people feel thirsty, they drink a soft, they will have a soft drink. It's not a brief, it's a reality.
Right.
So when you really water cannot quench a thirst, then you might want a carbonated, drink. When you are, not so health conscious, then you will pick up. So these are the kind of behavioral insights which you need, and then people do that. Or observational insights saying that, when people drink water, they are not very proud about it. You don't get any badge value. When you are drinking Coke or Pepsi or something, you tend to switch the badge, the logo onto the other side, and then you drink so that somebody would know that you are drinking a Coke,
Right.
that you are drinking a Pepsi, or you are drinking a Budweiser, correct? Whatever it might be. So knowingly or unknowingly, certain aspects of irrational things will come into play. Whether you do it for a badge value, or whether you do it for self gratification, saying that you have earned the right, 10 rupees you wanted to spend on something, or just to impress somebody, correct? Or to just go out and tell people what kind of a person you are. If you are an alpha male, you are not going to be drinking either Pepsi or Limca or a Mazda, correct? Right. You will pick up a thumbs up. Right. If you are a very innocent, nice, God-fearing, good, health-conscious guy, you are going to drink, a Limca, correct? Right. Or a Mazda if you are a kid, and then little thing. So it is a reflection of your personality. It's a reflection of many other aspects. So the second part of a creative brief is really unearthing this, and then give it to people, saying that it's a macho drink is what you will get. People want a badge value, and what is the badge value? They need an endorsement of their masculinity. So that means that masculinity needs to be challenged, and then therefore somebody does something, I will do anything for my thumbs up. Who's nahi chalega, ye chalega will becomes a creative idea on which the brand is built upon. So these are the three things. One, the factual information about the product, and the second is about the behavioral insights into the people whom you are talking, and then the third is a creative idea to really do that. And at the end, how do you judge all these three? What do people think before you made an intervention, before you made an ad? And then what do you want them to think? And then cross checking, are they really thinking that way you want them to think? So if you were to put this judgmental thing, it becomes easy to collect the information and then to find certain non-linear insights, and find a creative idea, and then see whether the idea is doing the job or not. So these are the three different aspects. What are you saying? How are you saying? Have you said it at all?
Oh, right.
Absolutely. You may say, people should listen. No, you may say 100 things. Who will listen to that, and whose mind are you going to change? That mindset change is what advertising seeks, the behavioral change.
So a follow-up question to that. So we are going to have a lot of entries coming in for the fest, right? So what is that one X factor that you're looking in these entries that students are going to send?
Ideas. Creative idea, and an idea which should spark in your head another 100 ideas. Say good idea is liberating and a bad idea is limiting. Correct. Then you have to find idea अच्छा नहीं है, कुछ execution अच्छा है क्या, ये बच्चा अच्छा है क्या. You find other things. If the idea is good, it works like an atom bomb. It not only goes and then hits the target, it destroys 100 kilometers around. Correct. That's the power of ideas. Somebody comes up with an idea and a bad script, you can learn. The execution craft is something you can learn. Creativity is something which is inborn. Some people have the ability to use the creative power they have and then come up with great ideas, and then the skills will come. Then you need executional skills. And then if you have great ideas, you can always collaborate with people who have got the skill sets to really bring that idea alive. So the basic need for a creative person anywhere, what you are looking at every piece of work is, what's the idea? Is there an idea on which you can build?
Correct. Noted, sir. So you were talking about how a creative idea can build that impact, right? So nowadays we can see that the advertisings are not as impactful as it was during the 90s or the 2000s. So why is that? Why is the change? Like, what is the reason behind it?
There are two things. Advertising is all about making somebody do better business. Correct. It is not from the consumer, it is from the business guys, for the manufacturers, so that you add something back to their manufacturing and their profitability and everything. So they advertise because they want people to know and then buy their product. If does not happen, advertising does not exist. To make that happen effectively, you need to understand a little more about what people like, and then do what people like, so that they enjoy it and then they get the non-rational things. If I say that my tea is better than somebody else's tea, tea is tea. There is nothing which actually builds, and then nothing more you can do. Smell, taste, color. Beyond that, what can you do? But we in advertising, understanding people and then the insights, you build a delivery of the product delivery to another benefit stepping out of that. So if I taste better, what would happen if it tastes better? What will make you do? So we go to that, and that is where the rich things taste better, so that your heart becomes quite open and then nice. You welcome other people, you do good things, and a lot of other things. So that is where advertising really takes. And then this, unfortunately, today the new products which are coming in, and then the entire business environment has changed, and then people are struggling from quarter to quarter, not from year to year.
Right.
So the investment perspective into building anything has gone from year, 2 years, 3 years, to a quarter to 2 quarters to 3 quarters.
Right.
Even a quarter culture is also gone. You are looking at the end of the day on the dashboard, seeing that kya hua aaj, kitna offtake hai. So the pressure on these numbers, and then the newer brands which they are coming in, so they somehow want to get the transactions done.
Right.
So to get the transactions done, so they wanted to create transactional messaging.
Right.
So which will 10% off, 20% off, go on a trip, do something, you'll have Virat Kohli doing this for you, whatever, A will make Shah Rukh Khan answer your personal question. So you have got trapped into the rational part of advertising, and forgetting the emotional part of advertising. And you need emotional part of advertising to give more money to the same product, or to stick with your product for a longer time, because the relationship is not a transactional relationship. You don't remember your cab driver.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah.
And then you spend on a 3-hour trip to Pune, and then chat with him in that 3 hours for 2 hours. You will not forget him for 3 days.
Right.
At least.
Yeah.
Because your relationship from a transactional has become a little emotional. So the more people get involved in your brand, use it for a long time, they won't mind paying that little extra.
Correct.
So that premium pricing is almost like a tip for the great service which you are giving me. So if you don't command premium price, you are not a brand at all.
Damn, that's
and
well
then
said.
brands are supposed to provide that premium pricing. People pay for emotional reasons, not for functional reasons. There is no difference between one sugar to another sugar to another sugar. Why you choose A sugar? There is no difference between one phone to another phone to another phone. All of them you make calls and you can receive calls. Why an iPhone? Why you pay 3 times more than 1,50,000 now the latest iPhone costs? Where you get a Google phone for 50,000, or you get a Samsung phone or a basic phone for 3,000. So it is the emotional relationship which you build with people is what will give you premiumness. That's the reason why today's businesses are scalable businesses. They are not viable businesses. Therefore, they all are dying, and then they all bound to die if they don't realize that it is important to have an emotional relationship to become a viable
Business.
Viability is on premium pricing. Viability is not cutting your own legs and then giving 30% off.
Correct. So, so the next question is: so every great ad starts with a spark of creativity. I've been talking about creativity, right? So, can you walk us through your personal process of transforming a vague idea into a full-fledged campaign? Like, what is the process? Like, how do you do it for like your personal process?
Personal process is I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. If that helps anyone to know the personal process. But I think, personal process is you need to forget about everything. Forget about what client is doing, what client wants, what the brief is, and then what do you want to do. You cannot, restrict yourself. You need to find time to liberate yourself completely. So you sit and then really think about, whatever you are doing, go back and then think about in life, what would happen. Correct. Like once we were working on McDonald's. Correct. And it has nothing to do. We wanted to really speak about the 20 rupee burger. That time 20 rupee. Now it is 40 rupees, 50 rupees. I don't know.
Yeah, 50 rupees. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't say cheap, and then you need to communicate. So suddenly I remembered that we always hear stories from our parents and grandparents. So my father used to give us 25 paisa And then when he shifted, when we came to high school, from primary school, high school, 25 paisa was a lot of money for us. Before that we used to get 3 paisa, 5 paisa, as and when we required, which is, a joke now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Correct. And my father used to tell stories about how much his father used to give and his grandfather used to give, which is unbelievable. Those units does not even exist now.
Correct.
So suddenly, when after marriage, when my father-in-law, gave me 500 rupees and asked me to go and then buy clothes for 20 people. So I said, I couldn't say no to him, but at the same time, which era is it living? 20 people in, say what, in 80, 85, 86 is for 200, I mean for 20 people it's not, still it is. So still, I said, can't do, I bought and then gave it to him to make him happy. I gave 50 rupees back to him. So he was very happy. So which has nothing to do with the problem which I am solving for McDonald's. So suddenly we realized that we hate when our fathers and grandfathers tell about the value of money in their time. Correct. I remember filling a liter of petrol for 1 rupee 50 paisa and 1 rupee 25 paisa. So if I tell my son that, one, he would say that, which era you are living, why are you paying 100 rupees per liter, I used to pay this much. But they would love, imagine this day and age, if you were to get petrol for 1 rupee 25 paisa, you would jump.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct. And that led to coming back and sitting with the team saying that, we love, however much we hate the stories, we love the pricing.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So that is where the entire commercial where Sanjeev Kumar coming back and then Vinod Khanna coming back and Rajesh Khanna coming back and Dilip Kumar coming back, all of them coming back in their attire and then to McDonald's outlet saying that सुना है आपके इधर हमारा जमाने के दाम में कुछ मिलता है. So while we hate the stories but we don't hate the prices. So 20 rupees is like that. It's a small price, but people would love, that day and age to fill your stomach for 20 rupees. Who would say no? So insights, which come in. So you have to forget about everything and then think about life. When I was either buying that or buying petrol for my first, vehicle, I have never imagined that 40 years later I will use that in advertising and then make a half a crore out of it. I have never, correct? That's not the way human mind thinks. So enjoying life, going back to life, searching for ideas is what is the great creative process is all about. Putting yourself under a pressure, saying that मुझे 20 रुपए में बेचना है, कैसा बताऊँ, कुछ नहीं आएगा. You can only say cheapest, which is a cliche. You can never get out of that. When you ask somebody the cheapest car, then nobody bought Nano, no?
Yeah, right.
So you need pride. How can you tell people, without? So lot of times you solve a problem by forgetting about the problem and then going back to life. And then imagine somebody paying you so much to sit early morning, sip your coffee, put your feet up in the balcony and then staring at the sunrise and then thinking about your childhood and your aunts, your gardens and then wherever you play and then remembering all the past things. Somebody is paying you so much, why not?
Exactly, why not?
Correct. That's the secret to really crack ideas. Go back to life and life will always show you your own experiences or imagine the experiences of your friends who have shared with you. So all that will come in handy to be able to, and then because you are borrowing from life, it connects back to life, to people again, because they would think, yeah, this had happened to me. That's what my father used to say. That's what my grandfather used to say. That connection is what builds an affinity, and affinity converts into premiumness for the brands, and then the clients and businesses will flourish because they sell more, they make more money. Correct. It's all depending on how well you enjoyed your life and then how well you had your morning that day. Right. That's the reason why great clients wanted to partner with creative people directly, no in-betweens and none of those. So good creative people make that, you know. See how cred is happening today with one creative guy, you know, really doing and then building a brand which is modern as relatability. Of course, and all these must have been observations from their own life.
Right. One of our themes for Guthli Adfest is celebrating Pops and Pandey, and we are coming up with the scholarship under your name. So how does it feel, and what change can this bring into talent hunting, the whole landscape of talent hunting, once this Guthli Adfest starts?
I think in one way we both belong to the same era. We came in at the same time, did similar work, and life view is also similar. Correct. We are not urban English speaking, you know, creatives which used to rule the country till we came in. Correct. Advertising used to be thought and then, you know, written only in English. So we came in with all our things. I think, you know, what it means to people is language is not a barrier. We have to communicate. We are proud to be part of this country, which celebrates so many languages and culture, and so much of heart into all that. The good thing, the commonality, and then what, you know, will make people do is humanity, joy, and enthusiasm towards life. You know, the childlike enthusiasm towards learning something new. Even today, I enroll myself in many seminars. You know, I even hide my picture, online things, and then learn new things which are happening on Amazon or happening on AI or happening on something else. You know, new softwares coming in. So learning as a process, you know, I've never given up, and then be rooted, and then explore life. You will explore many things, and Guthli gives an opportunity for people to really say that advertising is not entertainment. Advertising, storytelling is not the property or the right of only privileged few in urban cities. Correct. Anyone, you know, to me, TikTok came and then changed the creativity in this country, and in the kind of videos, the kind of people from smaller towns started creating. It has democratized the entire creativity quite a lot, and which can actually allow people to liberate themselves and then come to this beautiful profession. Wherever you have, if you have talent to tell stories, talent to communicate with somebody, talent, you know, bubbling with ideas and bubbling with the life, you will be valuable. And I hope many more come from smaller cities. You know that what it has done to cricket, what it had done to Bollywood. I'm hoping this Guthli revolution will do that to advertising.
Absolutely. So fingers crossed. So you mentioned about AI in between. So how do you think today AI can change the landscape of advertising? To what extent has it entered advertising?
See, always new tools keep coming in.
Right.
Correct. And when computers came in, we said, wow, computers came in, will it take away the jobs of, artists? It didn't. We had to actually, I was one of the first guys who adopted, Adobe suite in India in 1990, and then trained a bunch of 40 artists, of studio, which went on to become the model training thing for everyone. So we were, that time, entire union was up against me, saying that you are bringing in computers, Datta Samant days, where every artist is part of, part of the union. So they all came and then said that we are going to lose our jobs. In fact, it made it better, and then they started going home early, correct? And people have realized. So technology is a tool. When television came in, said cinema is going to go away, correct? And when television, really boomed in 90s, they said art directors are history. It's only copywriters who can write television commercials are going to. So nothing has changed. Nothing will ever change, correct? Computer learning, computer intelligence has been there for a long time. It has now come to not even commercial use, to a personal use. From a commercial use, data analytics, we have been using, if I could say that I started working on computers in 1978 when ECL was making the supercomputers in India. So from that time onwards, storing and computer learning is nothing new, but it has now become a tool which has become far more available to people. So it's only a tool. So it all depends on how do you use the tool, and more newer tools will come tomorrow. Sir, if you are scared about this, how are you going to adopt all the newer tools which come the next day? There was a time when people asked you, do you want your phone to be mobile? And then we thought about how are we going to carry the wire along with us, correct? No, we don't want it to be mobile because it's bulky.
Right.
So a new product came and we adopted to that. As it changed our life, it did. Right. But have we stopped using all other things? It didn't. No. Correct. Still we go to theaters. Still we subscribe to newspapers, and then still we read and then do things. So a lot of things which don't change, and a lot of things which change. We only focus on things which change. We forget about a lot of things which don't change. Right. What will not change is human intellect. Right. And human talent, and then your ability to adapt and use different tools which you have at your disposal at any given point in time. Tomorrow much better tools will come. Of course you are going to abandon this and go to those tools, whether it is AI or GI, God's intelligence. Correct, the next wave of things, God himself will come. Has given you originally an intelligence. Right. Correct, and why do you want to use artificial? It will be called something else, and it will be an intuitive transmission. God knows what happens, but it's only a tool. It's an important tool for humanity to adopt and then use. Right. And we should not be scared about the tools. We should master them so that you can use them effectively.
Absolutely, sir. Right, sir. So you were talking about change, few things doesn't change at all. So in advertising, every day there's a new change, there's something or the other that is changing. Right? So what is that one thing that will never change in advertising, even once we get into the field, or like the next generation gets into the field, still that thing is constant?
Human emotion. You tell me if you were to marry a robo.
No.
Correct. Would you want to go on a date with a robo? Then things will change. Till then, humanity. Heart, emotions, what computers cannot do, and what advertising always need is communicating to people, and then without heart you cannot communicate to people. Correct. It is the heart which makes relationships which last, and then if you are able to do that for a brand with billions of people, you will be a king. In real life, if you have 10 friends who stay with you all your life, you are a successful man or a woman. Correct. So building a relationship, carrying a relationship is the toughest thing in life, and only few people can do that. And if you are able to do that with millions of people all the time, correct, it is going to be something which. So that's one thing which will never change. Correct. It has not changed. When I joined advertising, we were talking about how do we communicate to people and how do we touch them. And then the first commercial I did for Happy Home, it's an instant food thing. So it was still talking about how do you connect with housewives. Right. How do you talk to mothers. And then we said it's only a mother touch which makes a home as a happy home. Nothing has it changed. Mother's touch has not changed. 40 years gone, yes. 45 years gone since I made that commercial. But nothing changes. It's the emotion which is always there, and that emotion is built in a human being. You keep the human being in you intact, you will be successful no matter where.
Yes, sir. So one last question to you, like what is that one campaign which you felt was the most challenging, and like what is the takeaway that we students can have from your experience?
I think nothing comes easy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Nothing comes easy. Once you cracked it retrospective, it's the toughest thing to do. Right. How tough it was, if you had not got that. But the journey is always. I think there is one which was the toughest where Aggie and I did, but it was very difficult to really crack an idea. This was for Times of India.
Times of India.
And this was Times of India wanted to do a campaign reassuring people that they have been in India for so long.
Right.
Correct. But at the same time, they wanted to guard themselves against a new newspaper which was launching at that time. Correct. They wanted to guard because that new newspaper, would have taken a lot of their share, and then they wanted to do that. So we said, Times of India is an old paper, and a new modern newspaper is coming. How do you communicate? How do you really fight with that? There was a lot of debate on what to do on that. So finally, one morning, both Aggie and I were sitting, and then we were chatting about some, paper, some articles and all. So suddenly he said, Pops, do you know what? A newspaper has obituary and also the birthday both come in the same column, same side by side. Grief for somebody, and so I said it's like a telegram. A telegram is a messenger which actually brings you good news and bad news both.
Right.
Correct. And said, what a lovely thing, we should do for Times of India, because it's a newspaper which brings in good news and bad news. Then Aggie said, no, it has to be 2 generations. Correct. Then we are talking about the age. I said, fantastic. That's where the Pakia commercial was born. You can see Pakia commercial for Times of India, which is about a grandfather who got rejected from Indian hockey team. Correct. Was very dejected in his life when he hears that his son got selected for Indian hockey team. And Times of India brought both the headlines. So it was inspired by some real events and then some fiction.
Right.
And I think it was the toughest brief to really crack, saying that I want to talk about old, I want to talk to new. Right. So how do you talk to new without referring to old, but old and new, both of them in the same breath, and then really talk about the emotion Times of India carries, so that my readership, will not go away to anybody else. One, protection is the most important thing. Recruitment is another one. This campaign was done to protect Times of India and its loyal people. So that really did the job. At times, you get problems which are a little tough, but accidentally, when you take your eye off that, and then you will find the answers in front of you.
Okay, so that brings me to the end of the episode. And honestly, I want to tell you, I learned so many things within this 1 hour of discussion. So many classrooms I attended, but nothing could teach what I learned today. And every time I have a conversation with you, it's just a new, I just fall in love with advertising once again, like even more. So thank you for doing this episode with us, sir. It really means a lot to us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Before we sign off, if you weren't aware already, Guthli Adfest 2024, India's first advertising fest, solely dedicated to students, is coming your way on the 19th and 20th October. This is your chance to unleash your creativity, make your mark, and start young in the world of advertising. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Register now through the link in the description and be a part of Fest that's all about nurturing the next generation of creative geniuses. If you enjoyed today's chat, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode with your fellow creatives. Stay tuned for more insights, more inspiration, and more behind-the-scenes magic in the world of branding and advertising. And always remember, every journey starts with a Guthli.